Welcome to your In-Depth, where we break down our favorite fictional universes, do a walkthrough of them, and touch on certain details. As usual, I am Jacob, joined here by Rick Etz, and we are going to be covering The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug, and this will be our part 3, which will end out the movie.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so, Evan, you are Ricketts. So,
thanks.
we do not have any Lord of the Rings news for this episode, but we'll just get right on into the movie. Evan he's got the thing up on his phone. I've got my notes like usual. So let's just dive right in. So we start off the movie, and the dwarves are climbing up the mountain. It has a dwarf carved into it, Mount Rushmore style. As they're climbing up, we see that it's the kingdom. They're getting right into.
And
it
it's even more so than just Mount Rushmore style. It's like full
blown
it's
the full
statue.
Body.
Yeah,
but it's the size.
And I don't know if you noticed, but the secret stairs they're trying to find, which were kind of where we left off last episode, were actually engraved into the side of the statue. Part of the statue itself, secret stairway, but still adding artwork and texture and whatnot to the statue itself.
Right, but they reach the top and they find a wall that is it's the entrance, though it's closed. Thorin holds the key. They're all excited. They all cheer and they start searching for that keyhole, but they don't have much time as the last light of Durin's day is running out. They start searching and kicking at the wall, kind of getting a little more panicked as they go on, but nothing. And they're almost out of daylight, so they start swinging their weapons at it, truly in panic. This is the last chance we get.
Yeah, just literally trying to break it down, whether they're gonna break down the door or just carve their own hole into the mountain. Or...
Yeah, we're getting in one way or another, but it doesn't work.
And he even has one of the dwarves, whose name is Nori, go over with a.
Yeah, he's looking for a weak spot even.
Yeah.
He's got a little basically a stethoscope, but their version.
Yeah.
But the light runs out. Thorin is very distraught, and he's just kind of we failed. Mm-hmm. What do we miss? And what did we miss? And Balin basically says, we had one chance. There's nothing we can do about this.
Yeah, it's we've lost the light. We can't get in.
Yeah.
We failed, like you said.
Major bummer.
And while they're even hacking at the wall there too, Balin even says they're not going to be able to break it down. It's impossible to break that door down.
Right.
There's powerful magic on it. And basically the only way you're going to get through that door is either A, use the key, or B, you have to have something the size of Smaug, a giant dragon of some sort, to just smash through the mountainside.
Yeah, you would need a lot more force than just their...
Well, it's not even about force for the door. You just basically have to break all the rock outside of the magical barrier that's there for the door.
Oh.
Because that chunk of stone is going to stay in one piece.
Gotcha.
However far the chunk of magic is, the barrier is, all that right there is going to stay in one piece. Even if you have a frickin' 50 catapults launch boulder after boulder into the side and break a hole into the mountainside, that chunk of magic door and however far the magic barrier stretches is just going to be there still.
Yeah. But yeah, Balin, he says there's one chance. We had one chance. There's nothing we can do. Mm-hmm. And they start leaving. The end. So our goals.
Jacob quit it.
Every 1,000 downloads, we got blooper reel coming out. So just get to us with more downloads. As you could probably tell by Evan's reaction, that is not the ending of the episode. But they do leave.
Yeah, and Thorin does pull out the map again and read through the inscription that's supposed to tell him how to.
Yeah, he's checking again. He's
how to break through or how to get through and find the keyhole.
Right.
And for those that are paying attention, they are missing one key element of this text. And and Jacob, I don't know if it picked it up or not, but he knocked on the table.
Yeah, I think it picked it up because really quick, just shh. Oh yeah, it would have, but it probably would have been very faint. But regardless,
so just they're missing the thrush knock.
Right.
They're and that seems like a very minor detail, but that's actually one of the biggest points of this, of how to find the keyhole. You have to be there the last light when the thrush knocks. Like it's bluntly and like specifically put there in there for a reason, and they're ignoring that part of this.
Yeah, they're just kind of overlooking it.
Yeah.
But Thorin, as they leave, Bilbo isn't so eager to leave. He's just like, we can't give up now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, seriously? And Thorin drops the key down and just leaves. He gives Bilbo the map, though, on his way past him, and Bilbo starts reading the map. He starts kind of like, checking it over. He's reciting the words and trying to figure out what exactly is going on. And he keeps repeating the last light of Durin's Day.
And I think at this point, like, obviously the dwarves are more upset and sad about this than Bilbo would be, for good reason, But again, Bilbo, though, like, you gotta think, too, from Bilbo's perspective, he's come all this way from the Shire, right? Like, he's been on one heck of an adventure, going through all this different stuff, and, like, this is literally his first adventure, so in the books, or in the Hobbit book, it breaks it down in, like, them going and getting, like attacked by the spiders and whatnot is one adventure. The whole troll situation was a different adventure, but it's all part of the overall big adventure. So, like, his adventures are really just small chapters of the whole big adventure.
Yeah.
But regardless, though, like, he doesn't want this adventure, like, he's not willing to give up so easily. Like, he's still holding out the smallest bit of hope that something was missed, that they still have enough time to figure out what it was.
Right. And
whereas the dwarves have just given up at this point.
Yeah. But he keeps repeating the last light of Durin's Day, and then he looks up at the moon and sees kind of like more light coming through, but moonlight. So it's like, well, wait a minute, maybe it wasn't sunlight. But then we see the thrush knocking. Well, it's got that walnut in its mouth, and it's just like doing the.
Well, and you mentioning the moonlight right there too. If you think back to when this message got revealed on the map, it was revealed by moonlight. It wasn't
right.
It wasn't daytime with the sunshine down. It was a specific moon, like at a specific time, at a specific like it was moonlight. So why wouldn't the door be moonlight? And for those that have seen the Fellowship of the Ring, again, there's more dwarven stuff in moonlight.
Yeah,
like it's kind of like a reoccurring theme that the dwarves use the moonlight to reveal different stuff.
Yeah. But the moonlight lights up the wall, and we do see the keyhole. So Bilbo starts yelling for them, calling after them, like, guys, it's there. We found it. I got it, And he starts looking for that key, though, because Thorin dropped it, and he accidentally kicks it off of the mountain. But right as it leaves the mountain edge, Thorin shows up and steps on the string that it's attached to, because it was like a necklace almost.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
he catches it so it doesn't fall.
Even too, and just like we were talking with the moonlight, the script on the map just says the last light as well, and Bilbo's like, oh my god, it's the moonlight, it's the last light, not the last sunlight, not the last whatever light, it's just light in general.
Right.
It's like that epiphany just happened in his, in his head. Like, oh my god, no duh. We're idiots.
But they pick up the key, they put it into the keyhole, turn it, and Thorin pushes on the wall, and the door opens. Balin is very emotional, and they enter on in. When they go in there, they see an engraving and a raised picture, on the wall, and it shows the Arkenstone. That's it being in the center of it. Bilbo asks what the Arkenstone is, and Thorin responds to him, that, Master Burglar, is why you are here.
Mm-hmm.
And then they all smile at him. They start chanting, Colt, 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 Colt. They grab him, they throw him down as a sacrifice to Smaug, who incinerates him and leaves Erebor forever at the end.
Deuces!
No. I think you watched the wrong version of this movie, Jacob.
The episode's ended. Anyway, no. I'm joking, obviously. That was a little detour, but...
But real quick, before you continue, that inscription you were talking about, did you have that written down in there?
What inscription? This is what I had.
Where you had where they read the inscription above the door?
Oh no, I didn't make note of that.
Yeah, and so the inscription actually reads, because they read it out, it says, "Here lies the seventh kingdom of Durin's folk." Of course, it's going to take forever again. Oh my god. "May the heart of the mountain unite all dwarves in defense of this home." Is what it reads. And it's basically like, that is like the proof of the oath sworn to the king of Erebor from all the other dwarven clans.
Gotcha.
But and like it's been said previous in the movies, like all the other dwarven kingdoms and whatnot have sworn loyalty to whoever possesses the king's jewel, the Arkenstone.
Yeah.
And if called upon, they will answer. But you actually have to have the stone itself to have them actually like stand by their oath. And if they don't, you can you have free reign to punish them at that point if they break their oath, you know. But
Gotcha.
if you don't have it, then they can just say, well, you don't have the king's jewel. You're not the king of Erebor. What are you talking about? You know.
But yeah, Bilbo looks a little nervous when they tell him to go, because they're like, "That's why you're here," and then he looks nervous, and it cuts away back to Keeley, who he has a fever. It's getting very worse because if you remember, he was shot by a arrow that was poisoned.
Yeah.
By the orcs, and he's kind of not great.
And and I'm pretty sure I said for our last episode when that actually happened, it is a Morgul arrow.
Right. Yeah.
And as I said that last episode, just briefly real quick, like it's more than just poison. It does a whole lot more. And if you're forgetting what that it was, go listen to the last episode where I explained it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bit to get into, but it's bad.
Yeah. It's so much more worse than poison. If you like I said, if you really want to refresh on that, listen to the previous episode again.
Yep.
I did go into it a little bit more.
But yeah, he has got a fever and it is getting worse. They ask about some herbs, just kind of asking for some different ingredients. Beaufort takes off looking for king's foil, which Bard says that they feed to the pigs. Mm-hmm. So he's essentially like, all right, pigs, leaves, all right, and he takes off.
So this stuff right here that is happening in the movie is a deviation from the book.
Oh, it is.
So in the book, Keeley is not shot by a Morgul arrow.
Okay.
He's not poisoned like this. The whole thing with the king's foil, or the name the elves give it, is the Athlas plant. And for the elves and for those that are skilled in like healing magic for the elves, like that's a very powerful plant to help slow poisons and stop poisons and all that kind of stuff. And that's why and the dwarves have some knowledge of it as well, obviously, from what we've just been from this scene. But like it does have, I don't know if you could technically call it magical properties, but it's got a pretty powerful healing property too.
Okay. But he takes off, and then it cuts back to Bilbo.
Yeah, and just a refresher for for those that have seen the first Lord of the Rings movie, this is kind of like a nod to the first movie. For those that remember, like the Athlas plant is mentioned again in the first movie of the Fellowship of the Ring. It is a little part of it in that one as well. This is just kind of like a throwback to that movie.
But yeah, we go back to Bilbo. Balin tells him that he'll know when he sees the Arkenstone. It's like, you'll know when you see it.
Yeah.
But then he kind of leaves him with, "I do not know what you will find down there. You needn't go if you don't want to, and there's no dishonor in turning back." Bilbo says, "No, I promised I would do this." Balin then says, the courage of hobbits never ceases to amaze him. And then Balin sends him off with the words, "Oh, and Bilbo, if there is in fact a live dragon down there, don't awaken it."
Yeah.
And then Bilbo's like, all right, starts walking, and he turns back to like almost say something, and Balin's gone. Mm-hmm. He's just like, I'm getting out of here.
During this conversation too, like Bilbo's even questioning like, how is he gonna know when he sees it? Because he describes it as like a large white gem, and Bilbo essentially says, well, like, there's probably quite a few large white gems down there and further into Erebor, you know, and that's when, like you said, Balin's just like, you'll know it when you see it. There's only one Arkenstone there. Like, you're not gonna, like, you might question whether this one or that one is it, but once you see the stone itself, you're gonna be like, that's the frickin' Arkenstone right there. Like, there's no mistake in it.
And like, seeing what we've seen, it's like, oh, that's indistinguishable. Like, it's the only frickin' one that basically glows. But
Bilbo doesn't, he doesn't have that knowledge
seen
yet.
This. He's got no point of reference.
Yeah.
But he leaves, and Balin's gone. Then we cut to Gandalf. who is running with Thrain through Dol Guldur. Dol Guldur, I don't know why that sounded weird to me, but Dol Guldur, whatever. Azog runs out and just smacks Gandalf to the ground. Then gives a little bit of a speech about how he's like, you're too late. It's already done. Whatever. Gandalf fights back by aiming his staff at him. And I only imagine kind of doing some sort of magic from it.
Yeah, and
which then he even like thrusts it forward and like almost gives it more, and like it's evident that he's kind of like
so you actually see a lot more magic from at least from Gandalf, right, in this Hobbit trilogy than you do in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Really? And I can't remember if I went over it or not. I know I went over the whole thing with Gandalf technically if we were to relate to the Christian religion, basically like an angel sent down from God and whatnot.
Yeah.
But part of that with him being sent down is the same thing with Saruman and the other and Radagast and the other two, the blue wizards that were briefly mentioned.
Yeah.
Those 5 were sent down by essentially God of this world of Middle Earth, but one of their big restrictions were they're not allowed to use most of their magic. They're there to simply guide and assist, but they're not allowed to actively, because Gandalf does have the power to literally create fireballs in his hands and make giant explosions if he wanted to. Mm-hmm. He has that power. He's a very powerful character just overall, but he is very restricted, and so we don't get to see a whole lot of the magic that happens, but we do get to see more of it here in The Hobbit than we do in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Which I enjoy because it's just okay, that just adds more fantasy to it.
Yeah.
But
Gandalf, does that. He asks where Azog's master is, to which he hears a reply. Oh, wait. Oh, no. Yeah, to which he hears a reply, he is everywhere. We are legion. We are many. Gandalf looks to see a ton of orcs and wargs below, all just coming out of the area, and Azog says it's over. Gandalf then flashbangs him with his his staff and takes off running. And on his way out, he collapses a bit of the castle to kind of separate him and Thrain from Azog.
Yeah, and when he does that too, part of the Robo comes down and breaks a bridge and actually falls on some wargs too. And,
I didn't even pick up on that one, but they continue running.
Because Azog actually he says run them down, and so he sent warg riders after him, and when Gandalf does that, it crushes the front one or two that are right behind him.
Yeah. But then they end up being stopped by the Shroud of Darkness, who says there is no light that can defeat the darkness.
Oh, and so another thing that I just thought of before we continue as well. All this stuff with Thrain, where we see him, all extended edition stuff.
We never see, in the theatrical, there's never seen, Thrain isn't seen.
Correct. In the theatrical version, Thrain is not seen. You might catch a glimpse of him, because right where I have it paused is right where we see the Necromancer or Sauron show up in front of Gandalf. And if you look close enough, you can kind of make out his outline in the theatrical version, but there's never the dialogue between Gandalf and Thrain in the theatrical version.
It's kind of odd that they would cut that out, because even throw aside him, what Gandalf is going through that has him in the scenes is, I feel almost essential.
And the scenes right before this with Azog, where Gandalf encounters Azog, right? That stuff is still in.
Well, yeah, but I'm curious as to
version,
how they avoid.
But it doesn't show Thrain. It just shows the portions of Gandalf where it doesn't show Thrain next to him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, though, as they confront the darkness, as they're there in front of it, Thrain says, "Tell Thorin that I love him. Will you do that for me? Tell my son that I loved him." Gandalf replies, "You will tell him yourself." And then Thrain says, "It is too late." He then gets snatched up by the darkness, letting out the Wilhelm scream, which, by the way, is the correct name of it. I think last episode I said Wilhelm or something. Okay. And it was because I think I wrote it, and my L almost looked like an I or something.
And so this
it's
one right
Wilhelm.
here.
But regardless, he uses that iconic audio thing.
Well, and this part right here too, where like you were saying, where he says, "Tell my son I loved him." Even that portion is like I said, you don't see Thrain at all, except for maybe right before this, where right before Thrain goes into that "Tell my son I love him," right there where it shows Gandalf, where the camera's panned back a good ways. That's about the only spot where you might be able to pick him out.
Gotcha.
But from when it transitions from Gandalf running for the theatrical version, it gets to this point. It shows Sauron show up in front of him in this weird darkness form, whatever you want to call it.
Shroud.
It goes from like the darkness form panned out straight to right here where we're at.
Yeah.
Where Gandalf throws up a magical barrier to protect himself from Sauron.
Right. Yeah. He's got like this force field of light around him, and the darkness kind of closes in a little bit. Then he gives it some more, like forcing it more out, fighting back and forth a little bit.
And the thing with this is, though, for people that do get into the whole backstories and stuff of different characters, like, this is a losing battle for Gandalf. He has, like, as powerful as Gandalf is, he has no chance of winning this battle. Even with Sauron in his weakened state that he's in right now, Gandalf has absolutely no chance. And because with the whole, I guess, angel things and whatnot in this universe, I'm using angels just as an easier reference for those listening. But even with these angels and whatnot for this universe, there's still like a tier system for them, right? And so, like, Gandalf is essentially an angel in human form.
Yeah.
But he's a lower tier angel, and whereas Sauron, before he got kicked out, was way up there, high tier form. Like, if we're equating this to the Christian religion, he's not quite like the devil was for God, but he's like maybe one step down from that.
Yeah, he's still higher up.
And because the whole backstory with this is the one that was like the right hand dude was Morgoth, and Sauron fell with Morgoth when he tried to take over. Gotcha. And so, like, it would essentially be like if the devil was killed, right, and just completely gone dead for forever. Yeah. His, like, second in command for hell is essentially what Sauron is in this. And this is where some of the symbolism between Christianity and these movies kind of comes into play. Yeah. But again, it does require going into that backstory of the whole world and all that for it.
Yeah. But as he's doing this, the force field thing, a fiery light outlines a body, which is Sauron. Yeah. We see him a little bit more. Gandalf's staff disintegrates. Yeah. And then falls to the ground, only for Gandalf to then be picked up and pinned against the castle wall.
And this fiery form we're seeing as well. Yeah. This is about as much physical form Sauron can take right now. It is how weak he is. This is as close to a physical form he can take without actually getting the One Ring back.
Gotcha.
So.
But then we see a close-up of him a little bit more, and Gandalf acknowledges, he says Sauron, like it is him.
Yeah, and again, if you've seen the first Lord of the Rings movie, that very opening scene, that battle that takes place way in the past from the regular events of Lord of the Rings, like, for a brief moment here, right, you kind of get that visual of Sauron in the armor as you see him in that very opening scenes of the first Lord of the Rings movie. You get that brief, like...
Which, do we see him out of the armor? Like, what does his face look like?
So
we probably don't know, I guess.
So it's said in some of the books and stuff that he was very elf-looking, or not he was. At a certain point, so when he's creating the One Ring and giving the 9 to men and the 7 to dwarves and 3 to elves... He took the appearance of a very noble-looking elf.
Oh, I see.
And actually got help from the elves to create these rings, and then corrupted them in secret. So I would just say, if you're trying to find a physical form of him outside of the armor, just think of like a very noble-looking elf. Think of like an elf nobly, kind of on the level of like Elrond. Okay. Just very noble, well-dressed. Yeah. You know, in looks, and for all intents and purposes too, it even says like. He doesn't look like he's got his own secret agenda to it as well when he's fooling the elves or tricking them. It's like he approaches it and he seems genuinely good intentions and good mannered and whatnot, and it's not until he starts the corruption that they start to see a little bit of the something's not quite right with this character. Gotcha. You know.
But we cut back to Bilbo in Erebor. He moves along and he enters into a large room that is just full of gold and jewels.
And sorry, I just remembered it as well. Yeah. From movies to books, right? Okay. The whole stuff with Gandalf happening right now, not in the books.
It's not. Okay.
No, because the books is all from Bilbo's perspective, and so Bilbo doesn't know that's happening.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and as far as I'm aware, Gandalf never really tells him about some of this stuff happening. It's hinted a little bit in the books, just kind of like as a side thought, but. essentially, if you're going from books to movie, anything that involves Bilbo, for the most part, is in the books.
Okay.
But anything where you see Gandalf or maybe other side characters like Radagast, you don't read about those if you're reading through the books. It's all just from Bilbo's perspective.
Oh, okay.
And just like forewarning for the Lord of the Rings books as well to movies, the same thing, like the Lord of the Rings books are all from Frodo's perspective, so any of the scenes that you see where Frodo's not involved, it's just kind of like side pieces where it does cover some of that stuff, but for the most part the books follow Frodo's perspective.
Okay. Interesting. But he crawls across everything, and he's trying to remain sneaky, kind of digging through what he can, trying to find that king's jewel.
And he even taps on the wall too to like, I don't know what his purpose was, but there's a huge echo, and he like curls back and hides.
Yeah, he's like,
and
oh shoot.
He's like, oh, wait. Balin said there might be a dragon in here. Crap, I messed up.
Yeah.
Mistakes were made.
And then he tosses something aside, and he's like, oh crap.
Yeah, it's like he's getting frustrated because he can't find it. He's just like, I can't remember if it's a cup or like
It was
couple
like
coins.
yeah.
I think it was like a white gem that he was like, maybe this is, but no,
I thought
this
it was
one
like
looks
a
similar.
cup of some kind, but either way, he threw aside something.
Yeah, he throws it aside like you were saying, and then he's like, oh shoot.
Yeah, like I gotta be quiet. And we see that he is literally searching for, like honestly, he is searching for a shiny needle in a very, very large haystack.
Oh yeah.
Massive amounts of gold all around him. The chances of him finding it are very low. Because, like, honestly, what if it's under all of this?
Yeah, and that's the thing though, because it even
it's
shows
like ridiculous.
Here, it literally shows like a camera pulled back, and you see how massive this hoard is.
And
it's not
about it, too,
it's not just like a mound of coins in the middle of a room. It's like it's covering the entire room, and the room is like several hundred yards by several hundred yards.
Yeah.
You know.
And I remember seeing something to where Tolkien was Tolkien.
Tolkien.
South Park? No, Tolkien. Was, he was, there was a lot of Christian themes in this because of his own faith and stuff. And seeing like that quote unquote what? What are you looking at?
I saw something in there.
Do you see like a different kind of font?
Yep.
Just shut up.
Okay.
Anyway, so,
Tolkien with his background.
You see very, very many instances of like the hand of God,
Yeah.
kind of helping. Like the chances of him finding this, next to none.
Oh.
But the fact that it is right there, that he's able to eventually see it, there's a lot of like just kind of coincidence that I think is attributed to like a divine help.
This goes just slightly off topic.
Sure.
But it does tie in a little bit. So there is one show that I thoroughly enjoyed watching. It is in the DC universe.
Okay.
And during one of the episodes, so basically the characters they time travel and fix like not mistakes, but they fix. So like there's other time travelers that are bad guys, and they alternate history. So these people go in and fix history.
Oh, gotcha.
But one of the events is something happens where Tolkien does not write The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings.
Oh my goodness.
So they go back to World War I when Tolkien is fighting in World War I, because it's actually historically true. He fought in World War I.
Yeah.
And they go back there, and they're basically keeping him alive. And you hear them saying like a line, and he's like, "Oh, that'd go good in this book," or like they do something like some sort of like fight or something like that. And be like, that'd be some good stuff for this book as well. Like,
that's really funny.
And it's a funny take on it. It's just like for that universe, it's like these people indirectly helped Tolkien write The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings.
That's funny.
But I just thought it was really funny. It's got a little bit of the tie into this, but I thought it was kind of funny.
But he's searching for a shiny needle in a golden haystack. Like but he continues. He grabs something from the pile, lifts it, and kind of starts a gold slide, unveiling Smaug's eye. He quickly hides, and as Smaug kind of shifts around a little bit, he eventually wakes up.
And this is where we really get to see the full size of Smaug as well.
Yeah.
Because it does show, like you said, it shows like where his eye is at.
Yeah.
But then it also shows Bilbo, and then it also shows Smaug like puff out through his nose, like breathe out through his nose, and you see that again his nostril is freaking huge.
And very, yeah.
And then Bilbo looks to the other side to try and find a way out, and he sees Smaug's tail moving like a good at least 100. I would say a good at least 100 feet. At a minimum, away from him. And then we get the full view as Smaug's starting to kind of rouse a little bit and start to wake up a little bit. We do get the full view, really, of a scale of how big he is.
Right, and but Bilbo puts on the ring to turn invisible as Smaug wakes up, and like kind of searches around, but he knows something's up. Smaug then starts speaking.
And one thing here too, before we continue into this scene, dragons in the Middle Earth universe, and in a lot of other like fantasies and stuff, they are very partial to gold and jewels and stuff like that. And so Bilbo does have a gold ring on him, and this is a new piece of gold here in this giant chamber of gold, and Smaug can actually sense that. He can sense that there's new treasure around him that he didn't have before.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's a thing here in Middle Earth and with this universe that like dragons have that ability to essentially like sniff out gold and jewels and like very fine things, and that's how they find like different kingdoms or fortresses or whatnot to attack and get more treasure from.
But anyway, no. So Smaug though he knows something's up. He gets up, he starts speaking, and he says Dovahkiin, he Bokotin di Hafkin, which essentially translates to Dragonborn. You come into my home. We see Bilbo facing it, and he exclaims, "What in oblivion is that?" Okay, for real. Now Smaug says, "Well, thief, I smell you. I hear your breath. I feel your air. Where are you?"
And again, that just comes down to a dragon's different senses, right? Like, obviously, with the big old nostrils like that, like he's gonna be able to smell flesh and blood and whatnot. He can hear Bilbo kind of rustling in some of the gold and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Really quick. Look, can we maybe take a quick break?
Yeah.
Actually, hey, ad break, sponsor break right now, right now. This will be perfect. Sorry, my wife is texting me, and I think she's going to bed very soon. So I wanna talk to her a little bit before she goes to bed. So returning, Smaug has just said, is like, thief, I smell you, I hear your breath, I feel your air. Where are you? Bilbo runs off, still invisible because he slipped on that ring. He hides behind a pillar. Smaug then says, "Come now, don't be shy, step into the light. There's something about you, something you carry, something made of gold, but far more precious." And you had said they have that kind of like that, ability of like, that 14 karat? Like, like being very, in tune with like, I smell gold and I want it,
Yeah. And we're about to get into another section here with Smaug, and before we do, I just want to elaborate a little bit. So the section we're about to get into is a dialogue between Bilbo and Smaug. And it is stated in other books and whatnot, dialogue with a dragon is very dangerous.
Yeah.
And part of that is because they're very devious, very deceptive, very cunning. Dragons they essentially think themselves better than anything or anyone else.
Very proud.
Yes, and very arrogant.
Prideful.
Yeah.
Not proud, but prideful, I'd say.
And so, when coming into dialogue with a dragon, like they will try to get your name, where you've come from, who you're with, who you've been in contact with. Like, they will try and get all that sort of information out of you. And dragons can live for a really long time, and they have excellent memory. And so, like, when dragons are trying to pick this information from you, they're going to remember it. And so if you wrong them, they are going to get retribution, and that's where they're going to go. Those are the people they're going to go after. Yeah. And so, like I said, it's very dangerous engaging into any sort of dialogue with a dragon. Okay. And as we'll see, Bilbo is very
careful, right?
Very careful, but he's also very vague about the information he gives, and a little misleading with the information that he gives Smaug. And another reason as well is dragons have a way of, through their dialogue, working into your mind. Not so much like mind reading, but like planting the seed of almost like madness. And we see that kind of like the effect that would have. We see it with with Thror in the very beginning of the first Hobbit movie when they start talking about how he started like coveting gold and he never left like his treasury and was always in there and all that kind of stuff. Like that's essentially the same effect that could happen to you if you engage with a dragon for too long in dialogue.
Okay.
And so like they have a lot of power with their voice and they have a very strong memory. Like I said before, they're very devious.
Right.
And so like, and I don't know if Bilbo knows that for sure.
Yeah.
But he definitely takes the right steps here by just being very vague and very misleading with the information he gives. And essentially, at some point, he's just playing dumb. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah.
Well, and really we're coming into this scene that I was kind of giving some foreshadowing and some insight about. We're really just coming into it now.
Yeah. And Bilbo takes off the ring and becomes like... so that Smaug can see him, and he kind of starts sweet-talking him.
Well, and
he
it's not even he takes off so Smaug can see him.
Yeah.
When Smaug says something far more precious,
yeah,
with the ring itself, and Bilbo having had it for a little bit of time now, that like reverberates in his head.
Yeah.
And it really like the ring's like. His guard's down. I'm going to work my way into his head now.
So he kind of... It's not so much like coming into the light. It's more so like something's up. Like, this thing's messing with me. I need to take it off.
Yeah, it's like... Bilbo hears the word precious.
Right.
As Smaug says, something far more precious. And that reverberates in his head. It drops his guard that he's probably not even aware he has up.
Yeah.
You know? And the ring, from my understanding, can sense that guard has been dropped. And it starts worming its way into his head to try and force its will upon him and that sort of thing. And at that point, like it's too much for him. There's too much going on in his brain. He takes it off without even realizing he takes it off.
Okay. Well, so I guess it was more of like I'm in this situation now. But he starts sweet-talking Smaug, and he says like, he's like, basically, because I think Smaug accuses him of coming, like a thief, he's coming to steal his gold from him. And he says, I did not come to steal from you, O Smaug, the unaccessibly wealthy. I merely wanted to gaze upon your magnificence, to see if you really were as great as the old tales say.
Yeah.
I did not believe them. And he's playing on that pride.
Yeah, and this stuff, the way that, right here, this brief dialogue that Jacob has just read here, and what we will see here leading up, and again, I'm not sure if Bilbo is aware of this, but this is definitely the way to approach a dragon. If you are actually trying to engage a dragon in dialogue, this is the way to approach.
Because they basically want to be praised,
and
worshipped almost.
It's not even so much praised or worshipped. They're, like you said before, they're very prideful.
Yeah.
And like more so to the point where like they don't care what other people think of them, just period. Like they have their own in their own head. They have their own view of themselves, and if you are actively seeking or you find yourself in a situation in this world where you're talking to a dragon, this is the way to approach them.
I don't think I probably will, but I appreciate this.
But you would want to feed on that ego. You'd want to feed on that pridefulness, that arrogance. Yeah. And honestly, in this world with dragons, like that is nowhere close to a sure guarantee that you're going to survive.
No, but
the odds are heavily against you. It's gonna give you a little bit of more of a chance of getting away, but like the odds are you're not going to, just in general.
But Smaug then goes into full view, and he's posing, and he's like, "And do you believe them now?" Again,
that whole prideful arrogance,
right? But we do see a full view of him, and he big boy.
And it's in this scene too that this is a prolonged scene, right?
Okay, yeah.
But it is in this scene too at one point, and I don't think we passed it quite yet. But it's into the editing effects and whatnot and the dimensions of this giant room they're in. At one point when Smaug's going after Bilbo.
Oh well, obviously we haven't gotten to it yet.
Well, he did a little earlier. When Bilbo started running.
Okay.
And I don't remember exactly which spot it's at.
Okay, but anyway.
But there's one point with the editing effects and whatnot that they did with this scene and this background and stuff. With the pillars, the support pillars in this room, are technically not wide enough apart for Smaug to fit through. And so when they were creating this movie and doing the editing and whatnot, their thing was, we're not going to worry about those dimensions. This scene is more so the dialogue and the Smaug going after Bilbo. This is a very heavy, very powerful scene. This whole kind of longer stretch of a scene, but like the fact that in one spot you can almost see like one of his wings just kind of clipped through a pillar and nothing happens to the pillar. Like that is very
got those Skyrim hitboxes, huh?
Yeah, but it for when they were creating it, that was a very like for them and what this scene was supposed to mean. That was a very minor thing that they were not worried about.
Yeah,
you know. But I do think it is kind of funny that. And because people went through and like did like dimensions and whatnot, and figured out how far apart the pillars were, and like these are like people that went and then watched the movies when it came out, and all that kind of stuff, and they figured out based on Smaug's size, technically speaking, he wouldn't be able to fit through the pillars. There is, if you watch, because I have them purchased on YouTube, all the extended editions, but at the end of this movie, the extended edition, there is a whole another like hour or so where it goes into all the background effects and all that kind of stuff of the making of the movie, and they do mention that in that portion after the credits and everything of like we knew that was a thing, but our thing was like that is a very minuscule thing for what we're trying to achieve with this interaction between the two, so we were not worried about it at all. But I just think it's kind of funny personally.
Yeah. But Bilbo says, truly, I do believe them now. And this continues. The heck?
That was a bottle.
I see that. What the heck? But continues a bit, and I'm not going to quote it word for word, continue the word for word dialogue. But Smaug asks eventually, like, do you think that flattery will keep you alive?
Well, and it's that too, and you are jumping a little bit, because this is where it kind of comes into where the dragon's deceptiveness of getting information, just slightly before that. Because Smaug even mentions that, like, Bilbo's familiar with his name. He's familiar with who Smaug is. But Smaug's never encountered Hobbits before.
Oh, yeah, because he's like, I know nothing of you.
Yeah,
well, I think this was, because I did mention that a little bit. Okay. So I don't think we've gotten there yet. But
okay.
But either way, flattery's not going to keep him alive. Yeah. It's not, and Smaug's like, it's not,
But like, Smaug has never encountered hobbits before. He knows the smell and taste of man, elves, dwarves. Right. Like, he's encountered those before. But he's never encountered hobbits. So this is a whole new thing for him.
Yeah.
For Smaug. And he even mentions, like, he asks, like, who are you and, like, where are you from? And it's almost like he's asking just purely out of curiosity.
Yeah, it does. He's curious.
But in reality, it's collecting that information.
And that's
so if
part
Bilbo
of it.
wrongs him, he's going to seek retribution. And
well, I think as far as like I think he is trying to learn a little bit. Like, who is this? But yeah, there's probably that aspect to it too.
And well, because like I said,
essential information for that case.
And like I said, like the way Smaug is asking it's not like I need to know. So if you like mess with me, I'm gonna retaliate. It's like a it almost comes across as a genuine curiosity, even from a creature as big as Smaug. He's deceitful, like I said, and it comes across as a curiosity, as a wondering, just want some new information, like a very genuine thing.
Yeah.
But in reality, there's a lot more that goes into it.
Right. But Smaug asks Bilbo who he is. Yeah. And out of the corner of Bilbo's eye, he sees the Arkenstone. Arkenstone. He's like, but
and it's to the point where he keeps looking back over at it, like
he's glancing,
that's
like,
it.
Holy crap!
And
I think that's it.
Just like Balin said, like you'll know it when you see it.
Right.
Like he's like, that's it. I need to keep an eye on it as he's like going back and forth between Smaug and the Arkenstone. It's like I'm trying to focus up here, but it's right down there.
Right. But he starts saying, he says he comes from under a hill. Smaug gets close to Bilbo in this, and like Bilbo kind of fans at his own nose, like, because really Smaug probably don't smell pretty.
No, and this is where Bilbo's his genius comes in. Yeah. He starts speaking in riddles. He never gives Smaug that straight answer
because of his his titles, right?
Yeah, and so he says
stuff
he's
like luck wearer. is one of them.
So one of them, when he says, is he comes from under the hill.
Right.
And then
Shocker.
under hills and over hills, my path has led me. Like,
okay.
He's not pointing out any specifics of where he's from, the path he has taken.
No, he's being very vague, but he's saying, I've been here and there.
Yeah, and then he says,
I thought you were a little bit ahead, but yeah, in that he's
and again
vague.
it's and through the air I am the one who walks unseen. Again, not mentioning the ring. Through the air he rode on the eagles, but he's not mentioning them. It's just I've been through the air, you know. And again, I'm not sure if Bilbo is aware that he's doing the right thing here by talking like this, but he's definitely doing the right thing talking like this to Smaug.
Yeah.
Like, this is, like, as I said before, this is spot on how you would want to approach this situation.
Yeah. But,
and he even says, as well, I am luck wearer, like, because he's been pretty lucky so far. And riddle makers nodding back to the game of riddles with Smeagol, or with Gollum or Smeagol, whatever you want to call him. And Smaug is again just fishing for that information. Like, go on, lovely titles. Like, what else do you have?
Yeah, and he he's kind of stretching. He's like, what do I come up with next? And he goes, barrel rider.
Yeah. And that one kind of catches Smaug off a little bit. It catches him off.
What?
Yeah, and he's like, barrel rider. Now that's interesting. Like, and because that right there's a little too much information. Because of where Smaug is at. In the Lonely Mountain, he knows there's Laketown just south of him. He knows there's the elves over to the west of him.
Yeah.
He has some knowledge of the trade between men and elves, Yeah. And so right here, this
and
spot
actually
right here,
later on he pieces that together.
Yeah, right here.
I'm thinking about ahead now, and
here where Bilbo says barrel rider, without him realizing it. And even right here at this specific point where Smaug has not made the connection, he's given away just a little too much information.
Yeah.
And then Smaug does mention, and what about your dwarf friends? Because he can smell the dwarves. Even however far away they are from him, he can smell them.
Yeah, and he kind of denies that, but then he calls, and Smaug calls Bilbo a liar, when he says there aren't any. Smaug says he knows the smell and taste of dwarf better than anyone. As he's saying this, Bilbo is inching closer to the Arkenstone. Yeah. But Smaug steps on it and sends it kind of shooting down the Golden Hill by a good ways. And
before that too, Bilbo does again try and go on the whole flattery type thing. He says, "Oh, Smaug, chiefest and greatest of calamities." And for a dragon who's all about, I'm going to take what's mine. I don't care what happens. Like, I will destroy everything if I have to. I don't care. Like, that is a compliment to him,
Yeah.
And Bilbo tries to play on those manners again, and Smaug can see through it, though. Like, he's like, you have nice manners for a thief and a liar. Yeah. Smaug knows what's going on here. He's not stupid by any means.
Right.
Like, he knows Bilbo's just trying to flatter him and not give too much information. Smaug is aware of that.
Yeah.
But again, Bilbo is still just trying to be very complimentary, not try and aggravate him.
Yeah.
While also not giving too much information, and it's a very strenuous situation for Bilbo. He's in the fire right now. He's got to play his cards very carefully at this point.
But yeah, I think that. Yeah, Bilbo starts kind of running, and Smaug knocks down a pillar.
Yeah, and Smaug even says, too, going back to, he knew this day would come where dwarves tried to come and retake the Lonely Mountain. Yeah. He's been well aware this is going to happen. He's fully prepared for it, too.
Yeah.
But he does hit the pillar, like you were saying.
And it falls down, and it kind of, it makes a huge sound. I mean, it's a heavy pillar. And we cut back to the dwarves as we hear, it crashing. And they're like, was that an earthquake? To which Balin replies, that, my lad, was a dragon.
Yeah, because, yes, it would have that loud crash, like you said, but it's also going to reverberate through all the...
Oh, and they're right on top of the mountain. And it's okay.
Well, and it's going to reverberate through all the different halls and passageways and giant rooms that are empty now, and it's just going to echo, and I'm sure it shook that entire mountain.
Yeah.
With that giant... Because those are giant pillars, too. It's not like it's just some little column. These things are huge.
Right. And Thorin has this look on his face like, oh, crap.
And so it shakes so much, and because right here, right after
Well, yeah,
he has that look
right
of
after-
like, oh crap, it goes to the dwarves back at Bard's house, and they
Right.
see dust fall, and they can feel the shake from Laketown.
Yeah.
Like, that's how much of a crash that one pillar had.
Yeah. And, they feel the earthquake, too, is coming from the mountain. Feely tells Bard he should take his family and leave them here. Kind of being like, dude, save yourself. That's a dragon. And his daughter asks if they're going to die. He replies with no, and she's very worried, says the dragon is going to kill them.
Well, and Bard even replies after he's told that he should go, he's like, go where? Like, we don't have anywhere else to go. Like, there's no spot that we can get to fast enough
Yeah, really.
to not get killed. You know, like there's no escape for them right. Like, it doesn't matter if they leave right here and now. If the dragon comes, they're not going to get far enough away to get to escape. Because I mean, really, with Smaug, like, sure he'll see some people maybe make it to the land out of Laketown and running through some timber, but he'll just go over and breathe fire on him and kill him. He doesn't care. You know, like...
Yeah. But anyway, then we cut back to Bilbo and Odahviing.
Before we do, we get revealed here with Bard.
Yeah.
He grabs a black arrow.
Oh, right. Sorry. Bard reaches up and tears free a black arrow. It's the last remaining, I believe, right?
As far as I'm aware, it is, yeah.
Yeah, because they're like, are we going to get killed by this dragon or whatever? And he pulls that down. He's like, well, not if I kill it first.
And it's kind of funny in my opinion, just because like the way he's been using the black arrow this whole time to like hang stuff from food and whatnot from.
It's been like a ornamental kind of like piece.
Yeah, and so it's obviously well hidden, you know.
Yeah.
But I kind of thought it was kind of funny because if you look, it's kind of like those scenes or those spots in Skyrim where you see like the rabbits hanging down or like the different. Like vegetation hanging down in someone's house.
Down, and it's like, there's hay, or, straw, and like wheat. That's what I was looking for.
And then they got like wildflowers and vegetables. Garlic. Yeah, and that's essentially what Bard's using it for right now, to keep it hidden.
Yeah. He just reaches up, pulls it down, and they're like what?
Yeah, and for those that don't remember, the black arrows are the only things that has the chance.
Right, the Dwarven Wind Lance, right?
Yeah, it has to be shot from the Dwarven Wind Lance. And it's the only arrow that has a chance, or just about the only thing that has a chance of actually piercing the scale hide of a dragon.
Right, and we remember that whole tale about the scale breaking free off of Smaug because of those black arrows, but none of them killed him, obviously.
Yeah.
So then we cut back to Bilbo and Parthenax, and Smaug keeps talking.
And Smaug just bites Parthenax's head off, and then they go back to their conversation.
No.
Let's be real.
Okay, yeah, actually, probably. But anyway, Smaug keeps talking, and Bilbo tries to evade him, also chasing the Arkenstone as it's tumbling down. Smaug is talking himself up, saying, "No blade can pierce me."
And he even says, like, "I kill where I wish and when I wish."
Like, my talons are blah, blah, blah. He's making all sorts of, analogies about himself.
And so he says, my armor is iron, essentially his scales. Just referencing, like, that he's a badass, really.
Yeah.
And he says, like you said, he says, "No blade can pierce me." Again, just talking himself up, like you had said.
Yeah, he says. And
that does continue a little later on as he's talking,
okay,
but it does jump back to Bard with the black arrow and his son.
Right, because Smaug is talking himself up, saying that no blade can pierce him, and then we cut back to Bard holding the blade that can pierce him.
Yeah. But even then, though, like, just because you have a black arrow doesn't mean you're going to kill the dragon.
No.
You know, like, and as we saw in the flashback to when Girion was making his stand, like, he shot black arrow after black arrow, and all of them actually, from what we see, just ricochet off of Smaug's his underbelly, which really is the weakest part of the dragon, is the underbelly, and those black arrows that are meant to kill dragons are still just bouncing off.
Yeah. But he's working through the streets and instructs his son to distract the guards, as he will then work up to the wind lance. But the guards spot him and start chasing him. Bard then gives his son Bane the black arrow. The guards tell Bard he is under arrest. Off goes Bane. For any charges the master chooses.
Yeah. And this all goes back to our previous episode where the Master tells Unibrow, like, hey, do we have any ancient law?
Right.
It goes back to that. This is their, like, we've got this ancient law that I just read up. He asks one more question, we can arrest him.
Yeah.
You know?
But he punches the guard in the face, tries to fight him off. We see Bane put the black arrow into one of the boats and kind of like hide it. Mm-hmm. And then we see the Master and his disgusting spackle of a piece.
We do see Bard kind of kick the crap out of some of the guards too.
He does, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's solely to show that he does have some knowledge of like hand-to-hand fighting. I think it's the sole purpose for that.
Probably, yeah. But anyway, yeah, we cut to then we see the Master and his disgusting spackle of a piece of donkey trash. They capture Bard.
Mm. Well, and one point to note as well, when Bane hides the arrow, it's not just the boat; it's the statue as well. And if I'm not mistaken, that's actually a statue depicting the Master, trying to make him look all noble and whatnot.
Depicting, yeah, that's the right word.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then...
And I think Bane really chose that because that's like a prominent statue. Like, he's going to know where that is. It's not just going to be some random boat floating down the river, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Where then he might have to guess where it is later.
Yeah. But we cut back to the dwarves. They're saying that they need to give Bilbo some more time. Balin says he's afraid for Thorin, as there's a sickness that comes with that treasure. Afflicted his grandfather, driving him mad. Thorin says, well, I'm not my grandfather. Balin retorts with, well, you're not yourself. Like, you're acting, a little odd and not great.
Yeah.
And he says, the Thorin I know would get in there, and Thorin then shouts kind of, he's like, I will not risk this quest for the life of one burglar. And Balin's like, Bilbo. His name's Bilbo. Show him some respect kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because, really, Thorin's kind of being a...
Well, honestly, though, looking at this from Thorin's perspective, right, they are so close.
Yeah.
They are so close to achieving their goal.
Maybe he's kind of like more so like,
and
we're so close, I don't want to risk anything that could have messed this up. But, like, still, it's Bilbo, man.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, too, like, if Bilbo's able to escape the dragon and, like, get out of its sight and actually hide somewhere where where Smaug can't find him, if the dwarves go rushing in there trying to find Bilbo, they may either run into the dragon and get killed themselves, or they find Bilbo and lead Smaug to Bilbo, endangering themselves still, and then also endangering Bilbo. It's kind of that's the kind of the perspective I could see from Thorin, but in reality, it's Thorin starting to get influenced by the treasure. In truth, that's what's happening here. Even though he's not in the mountain, that treasure is starting to affect him. It's something in his blood that, from his grandfather and his father, and then to him, like, that's something that it affects them down to basically down to the DNA. It's kind of ingrained in them.
Yeah. But yeah. Then we cut back to Puff with Bilbo. Smaug is saying that Oakenshield... He's like, Oakenshield sent you in here to get the Arkenstone, didn't he? Bilbo denies it, but Smaug knows. He's like... he also says that Oakenshield's quest will fail as there is a darkness coming. So, like, Smaug knows about that.
Yeah, and...
He says it will spread over every corner of the land.
Well, and when we go even all the way back to Thrain... There is a brief comment mentioned, and I don't remember if I mentioned it in the previous episode or not. But there was a brief comment mentioned between, at that time they were calling the necromancer we know as Sauron, of Sauron seeking allegiance with Smaug.
Oh.
Yeah. And Smaug being Smaug, if that allegiance means he gets more treasure and more gold and more power, he's going to take it, Like I said before, Smaug's not stupid. Like, he will turn a situation to it. Like, he will take any advantage that is presented to him.
Yeah.
And even at this point here where he talks about Thorin, I think he's like, I would say like 99% sure he knows what's going on, but he's still asking these questions even while chasing Bilbo to get that last 1% confirmation from him.
Yeah. Then we cut to Gandalf, who is hanging in a birdcage, observing all the orcs emerging from below. There are a lot of them.
Yeah, this is like a full-blown army.
Yeah.
Like, and they're heavily armored too.
Yes.
Is the thing. It's not like they're not like the orcs that we've seen so far, where they're in kind of like light leathery type armor. These are like full-blown like iron or steel plate with like this is an army for war. This isn't scouts being sent ahead. This isn't a raiding band of orcs. This is an army fully provisioned, fully prepared, and they're gonna wreak some havoc. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we cut back to the remnants of Dale, the Laketown, and we see the orcs are on the roofs entering the city.
And we do see
quite
Bolg.
a few of them.
We do see Bolg again here too.
Yep, he's leading them.
Yeah. And it does jump straight back to Bilbo again, right after, because we see the orcs kind of clambering over the rooftops, and jumps right back to Bilbo and Smaug.
Yeah.
And I mean, with this whole sequence of scenes happening here, we do get to see some of the what's going on with the other characters, but the main focus of this sequence of scenes is Bilbo and Smaug.
Yeah.
This is the sequence of scenes where we get to see, number one, how big Smaug is. Number two, how smart he is.
Yeah.
Number three, he talks himself up. We can see the arrogance. Like this is the introduction to Smaug as a full-blown character.
Yeah. And
then, like, just the jumps to some of the other characters, just small little clips, is just kind of like hey, this is what's going on with them while all of this is happening. We're going to jump back to these guys now,
Yeah. Hold on. I'm kind of... Where are we right now?
It's right after the orcs were clambering over the rooftops.
Well, because my next note says Bilbo denies this, saying Smaug is lying. What was he referring to? Because I don't see the context.
Smaug
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so Smaug says that Bilbo's being used.
Yeah, I missed a line here. We cut back to Pete and his dragon, and Elliot starts saying that Bilbo is being used. Yeah, he was only ever the means to an end. Thorin is using him. Right.
And he says the coward Oakenshield has weighed the value of your life, and found it worth nothing.
Yeah.
And again, this is the deception of a dragon.
Right.
In Bilbo's mind, Thorin truly does care about him at this point.
Yeah.
But Bilbo's been going through this whole encounter with Smaug and has gotten no help. Like, the dwarves haven't shown up.
Yeah.
And Smaug is smart enough to realize this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
off of it too.
And he's playing off it. He's making Bilbo doubt his friends. He's sowing that seed of doubt and of betrayal. Again, trying to turn this to his advantage, get more advantage over what's going to happen next, all that kind of stuff.
Right. But yeah, Bilbo denies that, saying that Smaug's lying.
Mm.
Bilbo runs after the Arkenstone, but it gets flung around again and relocated so does he. Smaug is describing himself highly, and this is where he's like, my teeth are sore.
Real quick before this, and this is an important spot right here.
Okay.
For when we get into the third movie.
Oh.
Is specifically why I'm coming back this time.
Okay.
Smaug says, I will not, or he says, what did he offer you? A portion of the treasure like it was his to give. And Smaug says, I will not part with a single coin. And that right there, I will not part with a single coin. Keep that in the back of your mind going into the third movie. Because it is going to come up again. And that's all I will say on that. Just keep that in your mind. I will not part with a single coin, not one piece.
Yeah, okay.
But he does go, like you're saying, go into describing himself some more with that whole arrogance, pride thing.
And but as he describes himself, we see a look over of him, and we do see a scale missing from the tails earlier. They were right. Yeah,
and some of the ways he's describing himself too is like, my teeth are swords, my claws are spears. And it's like he's hyping himself up. My wings are hurricanes, just basically saying how powerful his wings are.
Right, and but Bilbo notices that scale, and says,
he kind of whispers like, so it's true. The black arrow found its mark. And Smaug hears this,
he's like,
what did you say? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And again, Bilbo tries to go back to that whole flattery, like trying to talk him up.
Does.
And he's like, oh, Smaug the tyrannical, you have no equal on this earth. Just, again, trying to talk him up, trying to get out of his situation and also distract him at the same time.
Yeah. And he he's talking to him a little bit, and he goes, Smaug just says, he's like, I'm tempted to let Bilbo, or like, I'm tempted to let you take.
Yeah, because
take
Smaug
it.
sees the Arkenstone and
he's
sees
like-
Bilbo look over at it.
He's like, I'm tempted to let you take it and watch Thorin go mad.
Yeah.
But their little game is going to end here. And then he says, so tell me, thief, how do you choose to die? Bilbo puts on the ring again, and Smaug torches the place. Bilbo runs off and up the stairs.
Well, because if you pay close enough attention, too,
Yeah.
right before Bilbo puts the ring on, you see a glow in the back of Smaug's mouth, like he's getting ready to breathe
Oh,
fire.
yeah. He's got, like, this, like, yeah.
Yeah, and it's those small details like that I love. Like it looks like Smaug's going to bite him, but you also see the glow back in the back of his throat, like he's getting ready to breathe fire.
Yeah.
Like Smaug's ready to end him, and Bilbo goes invisible, and he gets that, he misses with the bite, and he kind of like recoils backwards a little bit, like kind of in confusion. And then, like you said, he just scorches the ground.
Right. And we cut back to Bard, who is in a jail cell now. We then also see Beaufort running around trying to find that herb. The orcs are watching them. Beaufort finds a pig eating some of that herb.
Yeah,
he grabs it.
Oil or athlas plant.
Right. He grabs it, takes off running, and the orcs are closing in. They're led by Bolg.
Yeah.
Bard's daughter steps outside, and an orc approaches her, like kind of drops down and scares the crap out of her.
I think I did mention before.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I did, but just in case I didn't, difference between the books and the movies. In the books, Bolg is leading the orc army that we just saw as Gandalf was looking down through the birdcage, and Azog does die at the Battle of Moria. Whereas here in the movie, we see Bolg right here in the scene leading this little orc pack hunting the dwarves while Azog is still alive. I was pretty sure I did mention that, but just in case I didn't.
Okay. The orcs storm the house, though. Sorry, I had to yawn. Beaufort is being thrown around by one of them, and right before it hacks him, like it's getting ready to kill him, an arrow goes through its heart. Tariel shows up and just destroys them, and then we also see Legolas come in, and they're beating the heck out of every.
Yeah.
Like they're shooting them, they're killing every orc there is. I think Keeley even stabs one, but then falls back down in pain.
Yeah.
But one falls off of a balcony and lands in a boat.
Well, and there is one scene as well where, and I'll have to get to it real quick, just because this all is happening very quick.
Very quick, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of what it is. The one that falls in the boat, I think he actually starts climbing back up, and I think it's Tariel. She cuts its head off, and the head is like sitting on her blade.
No,
unless I'm thinking of a different scene.
You're thinking of a different scene because he fell in the boat.
Oh,
but then another one falls and launches the other one up.
Yeah,
and as he's in air, she slices.
Legolas is the one.
Yeah, he slices its head.
Yeah,
off.
he slices its head off, and it's like the head sits on the blades for a second, and like the eyes still move back and forth as the last bits of like life leave the orc's body, and he comes out, and then the head just falls.
But the orcs discover that Thorin is gone.
Yeah, and they
flee.
They start retreating, and Legolas is just in pursuit of the orcs.
Yeah.
He really doesn't care about the dwarves a whole lot.
No.
But Tariel,
she stays behind to help Keeley.
Yeah, and so and this is another difference between the two. The whole thing between Tariel and Keeley that we've seen so far with them talking when they were in the jail cells in the Woodland Realms, and then here where it shows Keeley kind of like as she's helping heal him, and he kind of looks up at her and like, beauty, blah blah blah. Like I'm falling for this lady. Like that whole kind of romance that's happening
in the books.
Is not in the books.
Right.
In the books, Tariel and Legolas are not even mentioned.
Okay.
So.
But Legolas takes off after the orcs. Beaufort shows up with the herb, and Tariel says she will save Keeley. We cut back to Bilbo, and he's running up the stairs, and he runs into Thorin. Thorin is a bit more concerned about the Arkenstone than he is about Bilbo's safety. And everybody's safety, but then
and Thorin's even asking like, did you find it? Like, do you have the Arkenstone? Like, and Bilbo's like, no, we have to go. Like, the dragon's right behind me. We have to leave. And Thorin, like you said, he's too focused on the Arkenstone, and it's that the treasure and the Arkenstone and the power that it brings is starting to mess with his mind.
Yeah, and he holds them at sword point.
Yeah.
And they turn though, and Smaug is looking at them. The other dwarves appear, and Smaug screams, "You will burn!" And he starts to he shoots fire at them, and but they take off, and we see the fire behind them in the hallway and whatever. Then we cut back to Keeley. Tariel is speaking Elvish as she applies an herb concoction. As Keeley looks to her, she glows. It's kind of like that angelic thing where he's like,
yeah.
she is gorgeous. She's so.
And so
what
what
is
is happening here too?
It's like
as
you
well.
when you see Jar Jar.
You don't even talk about that piece of crap.
Sorry, Boss Nass.
That's a little more acceptable, but I'm still not very happy with it.
You're into the chunky ones. Okay.
Hold on. Gosh dang it, Jacob.
What?
Oh boy.
What? I don't understand.
Back to the movie.
I don't. Okay, whatever.
Back
fine.
to the movie. With Tariel healing Keeley here, what some people probably didn't pick up on is she's using magic.
As she's like saying that, she's using a bit of
And
magic.
so, like I was saying about the King's Foil here, like it does have healing properties, but it's not.
It's not going to reverse the poison, right?
Well, so normal poison it potentially could.
Well,
But and like I've said before, this is Morgul poison.
right.
It has so much more damaging effects and so much more power to it, where like King's Foil by itself would not heal it. King's Foil with this would simply slow it down from spreading. But King's Foil in conjunction with Elven healing magic,
Yeah.
it's like money. You know, like that's where you'll get the truly healing properties when you introduce that Elven magic with it.
Yeah. But yeah, so then we cut back to Erebor. The dwarves are still trying to escape, and they find a way. They start crossing a bridge. As they're doing that, a coin hits the floor, kind of causes a sound, and they all stop, and they're like who made the noise? Because they're like sneaking, you know.
And what they're trying to do here, real quick before, is they're trying to get to the Western Guard room, because as Thorin and Balin can remember, because and I would say Dwalin as well, those three really were the three that were old enough to remember, that the different potential ways out of Erebor, the secret passages out of Erebor, and that's one of them that might still be intact.
Okay.
But they hear the coin fall, like you were saying, as they're trying to sneak on by, and they look up and they see Smaug.
Right now, here's my question with that: did the coin drop out of Smaug's scales, or was it one of them?
No, it was from one of Smaug's scales. So in the books, Smaug is described as having a gold, almost like a gold tinge to him, and a lot of like lights flickering off of him in like firelight or in light, and it's essentially like he's been in that treasure so long that the gold coins and jewels have gotten jammed up into his scales, and they're stuck there.
Okay, that's
and so it's essentially in the book it's described as his underbelly is essentially just gold and jewels.
Okay, so he's got a bedazzled tummy.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, in the books it's essentially like described as like when you look up at his underbelly, you're not seeing jewels and we're not stuck in the underbelly. What you're seeing is the gems and gold, and that is his underbelly because there's so much stuck there.
Yeah.
And no, Jacob, no, it's not referenced.
Okay.
What you just motioned there is not referenced.
Yeah, we're just not gonna go into that. But so so it does that.
Jacob mentioned his.
Yeah. You were saying you're like we're looking up at him. I'm like, well, I mean, we see?
But
anyway.
Just as I was saying, like if you look up at that underbelly, it's essentially just more or less a sheet of gold and jewels, and that's what you see as his underbelly. You don't actually see any scales in particular. Like you wouldn't be able to like point them out, be like, oh, there's a scale with some jewels in it. There's a scale with some gold in it. It's just gold and jewels. That's all you see.
But at this time, Smaug doesn't see them.
Yeah.
then we do cut back to Keeley, who is resting on a pillow of
And
walnuts.
one more thing
Yeah.
with that too, and this is to the production of the film. For some of these scenes, some of it's CGI'd, obviously.
Yeah.
But some of the scenes where they kind of show us the close-up of the underbelly of Smaug, they actually made, like, models of it and carved out each individual scale. And each individual scale is not just the same. There's specific differences made between them, from size to shape to the texture that you see. Like, they actually went to a lot of work. And then they also, like, went into the CGI and verbatim, you know, made it look the same. So, like, each scale that you see on him, regardless of whether they used the CGI or, like, an actual model of him, was individually crafted and placed onto the model for the model version, and, like, individually crafted and then put in place for the CGI through the computers and stuff, obviously. You know, like, they put a lot of work into those small little details to make Smaug look as lifelike as physically possible.
But we cut back to Keeley, and he's resting on a pillow that looks a little odd. I would even coin it as nutty. Tariel is patching him up, and I know that was stupid. I acknowledge it. Tariel is patching him up. Keeley says her name. She tells him to lie still. He says it cannot be Tariel, though, because she is far away. She walks in starlight of another world, just a dream. And he tells himself. He's kind of out of it, but he's like...
he's a little delusional. Yeah. And one thing that one of the other dwarves mentioned, I'm trying to blank on his name now, but it was the older one that stayed behind because he was like the healer, right? Yeah. He even mentions to Keely's brother, he even mentions that was something to witness. Like, that was... Yeah. Like, that was a privilege to witness, seeing elven magic in person, elven healing magic specifically, in person. Like, it's very rare for someone to see that that's not an elf, you know? Yeah. And so, like, for him, like, especially a dwarf, because of that animosity between the two races, you know, like, that's something else, especially to him who is a healer. Yeah.
But he touches her hand, and he kind of, like, he's still out of it, but he's like, do you think that she could have loved me? Basically being like, you know, I mean, really, was there ever a chance kind of thing? Like, do you think there's some fate, like, some possibility? Yeah. He's just kind of, you know.
And again, and I said it before, that's very odd for a dwarf to even think of an elf like that.
Yeah, because aren't they usually into beards?
Yeah. Yeah. Because, and I know I mentioned it before, but elven women, or not elven, dwarven women, sorry. Yeah. Dwarven women do have beards themselves, you know, and so, like, a dwarf being into a male dwarf being into a female that's not bearded is kind of an oddity. Yeah.
But we cut back to Erebor, and they approach a room that should be a way out, but it's sealed off. And the last of their kin is scattered throughout it. Dead.
And so they do say the last of their kin. Yeah. But that's somewhat misleading. Yeah. Because, and this is jumping ahead into the third movie, but I'm just going to make one brief note of it, right? Okay. Thorin does have other family besides Fili and Keely that are still alive.
How were they in relation to him again?
Fili and Keely are his nephews. Okay. Yeah. But Thorin does have a cousin who is who is the king of the dwarves of the Iron Hills. It's another dwarven kingdom, and whose name is Dane. Okay. And so, like, he does have those other relatives, but when they say kin here, they're more so talking to, as far as they're aware of, the last of the dwarves that lived in Erebor. Yeah. And I mean, like, I would say this is just an assumption then, because, like, there could still be dwarves that fled from Erebor that are still alive out there besides these guys, you know? Mm-hmm. But this is just like kind of like a generalization, like, you're not going to find a large group of dwarves from Erebor again, essentially.
Yeah. But Thorin says that they're not going to die this way. They're going to go and they're going to fight the dragon, lead him to the forges. Yeah. If this is to end in fire, then we will all burn together.
Well, and because one of the dwarves here makes a comment of, like, they could hide in different halls and passageways and maybe live for a couple more weeks.
Yeah, but that's no way to live or die out.
Yeah, you know? Thorin, from what we've seen from Thorin, like, that's not going to fly with him. You know, like, if he's going to die, he's going to go out in a blaze of glory, like, essentially, you know.
But they run out, they cross another bridge. Smaug is there. But they're all, like, split up and around different ones. Yeah. And they keep, like, calling back and forth to him, getting his attention elsewhere as they make their way away.
And so Bilbo is actually with Balin, I think Dwalin. Okay. And then Or no, he's with Balin and Thorin, sorry. And then Dwalin and... I'm drawing a blank on their names. But yeah, like you said, they're split up into smaller groups
Right.
And essentially the purpose of this is, number one, they could distract the dragon from another group that's about to get killed.
Yeah.
But number two is, if one group is killed, there's still the other groups that can get to the forges to attempt to kill the dragon.
Right.
You know, it's like spreading the risk, mitigating the risk, and while still trying to get to the forges.
Right. We go back to the orcs in the City of Men, which I realize I forgot the name of the town. Throughout my notes, I've been referring to it as the Remnants of Dale and the City of Men. It's Laketown.
Yeah.
But we go back to the orcs. We hear Legolas Legolas is just slaughtering them.
Yeah, and we do. Bolg does approach some of the orcs though, and tells them to send word to Dol Guldur and inform the master that the Oakenshield has reached the mountain. He's made it.
Bolg and Legolas end up fighting. Bolg leaves, and we see that Legolas has some blood on his nose. Now, if I'm not mistaken, elves live. Do they? Or can they die? They can die, but I mean, like age-wise.
So, the only way for an elf to die is to be killed.
Right, and that's what. Okay,
or
so
die to disease.
So they just keep living.
Yeah.
Unless they're so he's kind of like. Is he almost like realizing maybe like his own mortality in a way?
No,
but not like in the same.
It's more so.
It'd be slightly different, I guess.
It's more so like. So Legolas, as we've seen, obviously is a very skilled fighter, and the fact that someone has made him bleed
is kind of like, okay, they're good.
Yeah, it's kind of like a blood. Okay, he's a pretty strong character. He's whether it's skilled or barbaric, like. He's got some fight to him, type of thing. And one thing I want to point out here, too, is during this fight, we do see Legolas use that blade that Thorin got all the way back in our very first part of An Unexpected Journey.
Okay.
It's not the Goblin... Yeah, the Goblin Cleaver. Or Chris the Goblin... Whatever. The Goblin Cleaver one, because Gandalf has the faux hammer.
Yeah.
But yeah, Legolas is using the elven blade that Thorin had.
But he ends up chasing after Bolg. Then we go back to Erebor. Thorin lures Smaug down into a giant hole. And as he goes in, Thorin kind of comes back out through some pulleys and stuff.
Yeah.
They then hatch a plan to ignite the furnaces.
Yeah, and as they kind of say, I think Balin says, those furnaces have not been lit for 60 some odd years, and they don't have a flame hot enough to ignite them.
Right.
And that's one of the things too. The dwarves are very skilled in their craftsmanship and whatnot, but as we see here, they're using giant freaking furnaces to melt all this different gold and iron and whatnot to do it, and it's not as simple as just using some flint and steel or throwing a lighter into some wood,
Yeah.
You need some pretty powerful and very hot fire to reignite these forges.
Which, oh wow, we have something that can shoot fire.
Yeah, so we have something that has a lot of fire and it's very hot and
So Thorin agitates Smaug though with insults.
Yeah.
And Smaug blows fire at them. They hide behind the metal in a grate, which is a giant grate, like a fence.
And so, if you were to encounter a dragon, what Thorin says to the dragon is not the way to approach it, okay?
No,
don't insult it.
That's the bad way of approaching it.
Yeah, because as we've said before, they're very arrogant and very prideful, so you go insulting them, it's really just going to tick them off.
Oh, yeah. But he even calls, I think he almost, maybe at this point, he calls him a worm.
He calls him a doltage slug.
Yeah, he's calling him, the lowest thing. But regardless, it agitates him enough to blow fire. They avoid getting the fire, but the fire goes underneath all those forges and lights it. Because it was hot enough.
My thing with this scene, though, is when they're hiding behind those pillars, you're telling me with all of them dwarves,
singed.
with all of them beards, not one dwarf had some singe of hair. Come on.
Yeah, really.
And sorry, you're telling me one of those pillars are wide enough to hide a bomber?
That's
come
another
on.
thing, yeah. I don't know. But
that's a big old boy.
Right. But the furnaces are going. Bomber jumps down and starts fanning them with the bellows. There's giant ones. He's jumping on them and stuff. They all start running.
He's basically using them as a trampoline. Really.
He really is, yeah. But they start crafting together pots in a separate room that are mixed with different powders.
Yeah.
Bilbo approaches a lever up top. Smaug goes after Thorin, and Bilbo pulls a lever, which gets
right as Smaug is getting ready to breathe fire onto Thorin.
And gets water all over Smaug.
Mm-hmm.
But this water, it releases and it starts turning a water wheel and kind of gets things moving.
Yeah, well, and that too, and as it hits Smaug too, like, it's dousing the fire in Smaug, and you see the steam come, like, pouring off of Smaug from it as well.
But, it starts up the full forge. Things start moving. Bomber is still bouncing up and down. They start throwing those pots that they were like mixing together, and they're basically
they're basically like flash bombs.
They really are, yeah. They start throwing it at Smaug, but they don't. It doesn't really seem to phase him.
No.
They drop some mine carts on him though, and he gets tangled up a bit in the cables. They unleash the molten gold because it's been, the forge is heated up and it drains down this little, like, kind of channel system.
Yeah.
Thorin runs with a wheelbarrow. And I'm moving right along because this is more of an action-based scene, so I'm really trying to summarize. I'm not trying to walk through every
tiny little action that happens.
Right. But Thorin runs with a wheelbarrow and eventually kind of throws it into the molten gold and rides it like a boat.
And, like, the big thing here, too, like you're saying, is it's just a huge action scene, but a lot of damage is being done here. Like,
it's...
Not damage to Smaug himself, but damage to the dwarven, like, to the forge area here. Like, a lot of stuff is going on, and, like, a lot of stuff's getting broken, and all this kind of stuff. So, like, even if they do kill Smaug and people move back into Erebor, they got a big project ahead of them to get it back into, working order.
Yeah.
But Thorin goes on his wheelbarrow down the river of gold and turns back to Bilbo to tell him to keep moving.
Right, and Bilbo falls and then runs and slides down a ramp.
Yeah. And Smaug is right on his tail. Like, Smaug is after Bilbo at this point.
Yeah. Smaug addresses Barrel Rider, saying that he's like, you've come from Laketown, and it's some sort of, like, scheme between the dwarves and the men. He builds up this anger. He's really getting frustrated. He's piecing together like, oh, you're in alliance with them. They did this.
You think you can deceive me, Barrel Rider? You have come from Laketown.
Yeah.
Like, he's piecing it together now, and he's like, this is some sordid scheme hashed between these filthy dwarves and those miserable tub-trading lakemen.
Yeah.
Those sniveling cowards with their longbows and black arrows.
Yeah. He's got some anger from back before.
And you can hear it in his voice too. He's getting mad.
He's very angry, and he says maybe it's about time I visit Laketown.
And Bilbo gets up and is like, "It's not their fault. Like, you can't go to Laketown. Like, they had nothing to do with this."
Right.
And to Smaug, Bilbo has just given away way too much information.
Yeah, now he has.
Like, way too much. He has shown...
Like, almost, like, confirmed it, even.
He has... Not confirmed, but he has shown that he cares for the people of Laketown.
Yeah.
Like,
so
because they're living
Smaug
beings.
Can use against him.
And Bilbo and the dwarves here have already just made him mad as it is.
Yeah.
And Bilbo has just now, like, given him the proof that he cares for him. Like, he doesn't want to see them hurt.
Right.
Smaug can use that now.
Right.
He's gonna make these guys suffer.
Yeah.
By killing the people of Laketown.
Right, and Smaug says that Bilbo can watch, Laketown burn.
Mm-hmm.
Thorin screams after him, calling him a worm, to which he turns around, like he's like, that agitates him too.
Yeah, and again, it's that whole thing with insults.
Right.
And that whole prideful nature.
Anything to try to knock down that ego a little bit angers him. Smaug approaches Thorin, who's standing atop a giant stone thing, which... the gold is pouring into. So it's a mold.
Yeah. And Thorin says, I will take what you have stolen from me. And, Smaug being Smaug's like, you're not taking anything. I laid low your warriors of old. I instilled fear or terror in the heart of men.
Yeah.
Like, I am king under the mountain. Like, you're not beating me. You've already lost type of thing.
Right. And the dwarves release all the bindings that are around this stone mold.
Yeah.
When Smaug gets close, and the stone falls away, and it reveals this giant gold statue of a dwarf.
And Thorin even says, like, this is our home. This is dwarven land, dwarven gold, and we will have our revenge.
Yeah.
Again, just keeping Smaug's attention right there on Thorin.
Yeah.
And he yells in Dwarvish, and the subtitles don't really give a a translation for what he says in Dwarvish.
No, it doesn't.
I just assume it's some sort of
like release it,
like release it, or like a war chant of some sort, something like that. But yeah, he does release it, like you were saying, and it's this giant statue of gold.
Right. But as Smaug stares at it, it starts to melt, and then it just bursts with the smelted gold because it's not solidified yet.
Well, because I think what it is Smaug's looking at, and this is a giant golden statue. Like, for a dragon, this is like...
He's like, ooh, gold.
Yeah.
Shiny.
And he's mesmerized by it. And as he's looking at it, if I'm not mistaken, you start to see it kind of deform a little bit. And
it
then
like
a bubble
warps
starts,
a little bit.
Oh, yeah. It's almost like an air pocket, and there starts coming up, and it just pops. And like you said, it just goes...
Just spews out gold.
Yeah.
And then the entire thing just burst, and Smaug gets coated in it.
Well, and I think Smaug is distracted as well at this point, to the point where, like, he's seeing this giant golden statue.
Yeah,
like
he's
this,
mesmerized. He's distracted.
And he's distracted, and he sees it literally melting before his eyes, like, becoming misshapen and whatnot right before his eyes, and that's like, no, it's right here. You can't just like no. And
yeah,
like,
so he's mesmerized. He's watching it, and it like spews. He falls down, and it like coats him. It's almost like
completely
forms
covered.
It completely covered. There's so much gold.
Well, and because it does have a moment here where you see it, and all the gold starts to like set. The liquid gold starts to settle.
Settles. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, did they kill it? Like,
yeah.
was the gold melted hot enough to actually kill him? Like, what's going on?
And then he tears out of it.
He just like erupts and
he's screaming,
like just screaming revenge, and like
he's like, "I will show you revenge." He's coated in gold, and he ends up exiting the mountain. He flies up. He shakes off all that gold, starts flying towards Laketown.
Yeah.
The people of Laketown are seeing and hearing this and gasping. They're getting worried.
Yeah.
But
I think. No, I'm not going to make that comment because that goes into the third movie.
Okay.
But like you said, they're kind of gasping because like they would hear that crash of Smaug breaking through the front gate.
Yeah.
And it shows all the different characters we've been introduced to, and they're all kind of like looking around like what was that? What's going on?
Yeah.
And it cuts back to Bilbo here, and he's come out of the front gate, and all he can do is look and see Smaug flying towards Laketown. There's literally nothing he can do.
Right. And as Smaug is approaching the town, he's like muttering to himself.
We get our final words of the film.
He goes, "I am fire," and as he gets a little closer, he says, "I am death." And
then we see him gliding closer to Laketown.
Yep.
A quick flash to Bilbo, and he's like, "What have we done?"
Yep.
Cut to black.
Yep. End of movie.
And I do have to say, the song that they play for the credits here, is, in my opinion, it's a fantastic song. And it's called I think it's called "I See Fire," like ISEE fire, not icy like ICE.
Oh, like ice and fire, like that kind of thing.
It's not that. It's I see.
I didn't even
fire.
think about that, but I get what you're saying.
Just for clarification for the listeners, if they want to look it up or something,
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's the end of Desolation of Smaug, right there.
Yeah.
That's how it ends. Very, it's kind of like, oh crap.
And I had kind of talked about it a little bit when we had finished An Unexpected Journey, of how it was ending on that high note, like
that one was.
Yeah, but that one it ended on that high note. They can see the Misty Mountain way out in the distance.
Yep.
There's that sense of hope,
Uh-huh.
And then we get to this one, it just
complete opposite.
Yeah, it ends in like it obviously like a huge cliffhanger, but it's like it ends in despair and like what are we gonna do now?
You literally end the movie with this impending just feeling of doom.
Yeah.
Like, oh no. But yeah, that's the end of the movie.
And one, because I watched these movies when they came out in theater.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I'm watching this and I'm like, okay, I haven't watched the next movie yet, but I can't even imagine waiting a couple years to see the next movie.
Yeah, so luckily
Which
with
I guess
these
with
ones,
books, it's like...
Luckily with these movies, though,
yeah,
when they released, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was 2 years apart.
Okay.
Is what these were.
Yeah.
But even then, though, it's like, for the next 2 years, it's like, and because that was like I had read The Hobbit way before, like back in like junior high or high school, and like I didn't remember hardly anything from it until I read it. I think I read it about 2.5 years ago now was when I reread it. But like that was well after this movie was released, and like I'm just sitting here from this movie. I'm like, what? No, you can't just end it like that. What?
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like that. All right, get the next one out here now. Like, plug that thing in. We're in the theater already. Put it on. Like, let's go.
Yeah. But regardless, yeah, that's the end of the movie. That's how it ended. We will be covering the first part of the Battle of Five Armies next Hobbit episode. But so when you're watching this next Thursday, when you're listening to this, before that we will be covering Mandalorian chapter 11, I believe. I think that's chapter 11. And yeah, so that's what we'll be covering next. If you want to get in contact with us, message us, feedback, all that. Anything is appreciated and welcomed. And if you have questions, we have a You're in Depth TikTok, which I upload kind of just funny kind of moments and stuff like that there. I know you can comment on videos, so I mean that is a method of doing it. Or messages, which I guess that one though you can't message somebody unless they've followed you back, so that one's probably a little harder to do. But then on top of that we have Instagram, which you're able to directly message, so that's a good one. And same situation with just updates and funny moments. We also have the You're in Depth at Gmail, which is you'reindepth@gmail.com. Other than that, the Discord group, we have that.
We have the Instagram.
So TikTok, Instagram, email, Discord.
Yep.
That's all the methods. Evan, we have goals.
Yep. So
too.
As always, we do have the goals of every 1,000 downloads is blooper reels, and we are pretty close to.
We're getting there. I think
that.
we're less than.
And so we did record an episode yesterday that's going to be getting released.
Yeah,
it'll be released after we have done this recording. So by the time this recording comes out, we might have reached that goal already. But anyways, the 1,000 downloads for the blooper reels, and then as I've said every single time, we have the 100 reviews on Apple Podcast is.
We'll do a
live streams, and again, it's on you guys. If you want that, go on there, leave the reviews, spread the word.
Right, and really spread the word regardless. We would really like maybe a call to action. Let's end this episode with a call to action.
And
share this with some friends. 2 of your friends. Send this and be like, hey, give these guys a listen.
Yeah, and again, with just the live stream one, that gives you the chance to interact with us as we're covering whatever episode or part of a movie that we're on at that time.
Yep.
But yeah, that's about all we got. Like Jacob said, pass it on to 2 friends. Call to action here.
I think that'd be fun. Then you can also kind of comment, because we say some stupid stuff too. and if you find that kind of stuff funny, it'd be something that you can share with your friends. I guess.
And I'm not saying we want for you guys to go out and be like, oh, you should check this out. They're so cool. Blah blah blah. Talking us up. Just no, because something as simple as
don't lie. But
But yeah, it's just something as simple as hey, I've been listening to this podcast. Check it out. I enjoy it,
Yeah, if you
something
enjoy
as simple as that.
Otherwise, punish your friends. Be like, hey, listen to this. It's so good. And then they're like, okay, we'll listen. And then they come back to you and they're like, it sucks. And you'll be like, I know, right? But hey, now you listen to it too.
No, I mean, hey, if you want to be like, hey, listen to these 2 idiots talk about stuff.
Honestly. Yeah. But
other than that,
regardless,
I don't have
we have all
else.
of that. Yep. If you want to see more of our stuff, I'm Recruited Socially Unacceptable on YouTube. I also have another podcast that we've only got 1 season of done with, called Down the Road. But then you've got Future Instinct over at YouTube as well. Those are things you can do. You get in contact with us, check us out, and just keep listening, share, all that crap. Bye.
Peace.
Deuces.